My name is Shalene Morgan, and I am coming to you from Grandma Grape's Reading Corner. And today I'm going to read the book entitled, Oh Say Can You See? Because this book is about the symbols, about the buildings, things that you would see, the landmarks of our country. And this is written by Sheila Keenan and illustrated by Anne Bjorgen. I hope I've said her last name correct. Okay. Would you like to live in a big white house with 132 rooms, 28 fireplaces, 35 bathrooms, 3 elevators, a tennis court, a swimming pool, a movie theater, and an 18-acre yard? If so, run for president, because that's where the President of the United States lives. The White House is the home and office of the President of the United States and his family. This grand building at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. is the most famous address in the United States. Every American president, except for George Washington, has lived there. So have first ladies, first children, and first pets. And this is a picture of the White House. During the War of 1812, the British Army burned down the White House. But first, and you won't believe this, they ate the lovely dinner First Lady Dolly Madison had set out before she had to escape. The president's house was ruined. Its insides were burned out, the roof was gone, only the walls stood, and even they had cracked. But the house was still an important symbol to America. So it was rebuilt in 1815. The sandstone was scaled with whitewash or paint to protect it. The president's house was soon nicknamed the White House. Boys and girls, it takes 570 gallons of white paint to keep it white. Ask your parents how many gallons that they need when they paint your house. There's another very important building in Washington, D.C. This is called the Capitol Building. No matter where you are in much of Washington, D.C., you can look up and see a magnificent sight, the soaring dome of the Capitol Building. And this is where where Congress meets. The building was finished in 1811, but 3 years later, it all went up in smoke. The British Army set fire to the Capitol during the War of 1812. So they burned down both the White House and the Capitol Building. After the war, everyone agreed that was a patriotic building, and so we need to rebuild it. So they did. And here is the picture of the Capitol Building as it stands today. The next monument I'm going to talk to you about is the Washington Monument. And this is a tall, narrow one. I'll show you a picture first. See how tall and narrow it is? It's the tallest building in Washington, D.C. And if you're going to climb to the top, you have to climb 896 stairs to get to the very top of this monument. And you can't even climb up the stairs now. They take you in an elevator, but you can climb down if you want. And the next I'm going to talk about is the Statue of Liberty. And I love the looks of the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is the world's most famous symbol of freedom, opportunity, and hope. She has stood tall over New York City's harbor for more than 100 years. And she proudly holds a torch in her left hand with a golden frame in her right hand. Liberty holds a tablet with July 4th, 1776, the date of the Declaration of Independence. And here's a picture, and you can see, here's the flame in her hand, and here is the tablet that honors our Independence Day. And there's a place called Ellis Island, just outside of, and this is where in the past, all of the immigrants, all the immigrants in coming into America came through Ellis Island. And this is a story about Annie Moore from Ireland, stepped onto Ellis Island on New Year's Day in 1892. She was given a $10 gold coin. Annie was the first of 12 million immigrants who passed through this gateway to America. Now, this is a small island just outside of New York. And I also visited this Ellis Island. And when you go there, they have stories, they have artifacts from some of the immigrants that passed through there. It's a wonderful place to visit. There's so much history there. And then if we go to North Dakota, or is it South Dakota, excuse me. If we go to South Dakota, you can visit Mount Rushmore. And Mount Rushmore is the largest work of art in the world. Would you believe that? And the giant sculpture of 4 American presidents was drilled, blasted, and carved into the solid granite face of a mountain ridge in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Each head is 60 feet high, and their creation is as amazing as the sculpture itself. And this is Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln. And here is the let me talk to you. I know I touched the flag last time. Let me talk to you just a little bit about the Stars and Stripes Forever. Not quite, because it has changed over the years. When it started, it was a flag, and I hope you can see this, with 13 stars for the 13 colonies and 13 red and white stripes for the 13 colonies. And after the American Revolution, more and more states joined the nation. By 1795, the flag had 15 stars and stripes. By 1818, there were 20 states. The flag was getting too big. Something had to be done. And so Congress decided then that we would stay with the 13 red and white stripes, but we would have every state, a star for every state. And we now have 50 states, so we now have 50 stars in the blue part of the flag. And at that time, Congress passed a bill that said that they had to all have 5-point stars, and it had to be horizontal across the flag. So every flag that you see flying over ships, over stadiums, over any building they all look exactly the same. And you can see, I'm just going to show you how much more information is about the flag. So if you want to read a lot more information about any of these things I'm talking about, you can buy this book and you can just read, or your parents can read it to you, because it has a lot more information that I'm sharing with you. Now I'm going to talk about the Liberty Bell. It doesn't ring anymore. It is now silent, but its message still rings loud and clear. Proclaim liberty throughout all the land. And when this original bell was made, it was cast in Britain somewhere and shipped over here. And first time they rang it, it cracked. And so I met two guys from here in America, recast the Liberty Bell. And the first time that the clapper hit the side, they didn't like the sound of it. And so it was used, for official business. But in the 1830s, people who wanted the country's slaves freed started calling it the Liberty Bell because of the words on it. Philadelphia's Liberty Bell soon became a symbol of freedom to the whole country. The Liberty Bell kept tolling. Finally, it cracked. And so the Liberty Bell, first it toured all across the United States so that everyone could see it, and then they housed it in Philadelphia, where you can go visit any time you go out there. And you can see it does have a big crack in it. Who is Uncle Sam? Have you ever heard of Uncle Sam? Is he a cartoon character from the 1800s? Is he a man in red, white, and blue and stilts in a parade? A meat packer from New York? Well, guess what? He's all of those that I have read. And he became a symbol, especially during the Second World War. He was on posters inviting soldiers that we needed to help fight the war. And here, it shows it right here. And the poster says, "I want you for U.S. Army." The Declaration of Independence is the most important document in our nation's history. In fact, it was the first to say that the United States of America was a nation. Thomas Jefferson had rented rooms in a house in Philadelphia in 1776. They were across from a horse stable, which meant plenty of pesky horseflies day after day. Jefferson bent over the portable writing desk he had invented himself. He wrote feverishly with his quill, sometimes standing up. When the mornings were too hot, he soaked his feet in a tub of cold water. When night grew dark, he lit candles. After about 2 weeks, he was finished, and the world was never the same. And that shows him. And the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution are very, very important to us. And we have a lot of holidays. I'm just going to, let me go into the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights show the world we are a democracy. So they are very important to us that we protect them because we are a democratic country. And it talks about many of the holidays that we have. We have Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Memorial Day. When we honor presidents, we honor Martin Luther King. We honor heroes who have died in the war. And I urge you, if you like to read, get this book because it's full of facts that you can read about our country and the many symbols that we have in it. This is Jalene Morgan coming to you from Grandma Grace Reading Corner. Bye. See you next week. I'll be sharing another book called The Napping House. See you then.